Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. I'm Dr. Laurie Davis, and welcome to the Today Show. A little bit different background today. Monday. Monday's all about self care, empowerment, taking care of ourselves, being inspired, and what a great way to start off our week. Regrets from my guest today, so I'll be solo, and perhaps Jay will drop by as he normally does. So here we are. You're going to have to listen to me for the next hour. Oh my gosh. But it'll be fun, and I've got a lot of great ideas. And today I thought, well, but first of all, before we get started, we're streaming live right now on Laurie Davis Facebook page, Self Worth the Missing Link Superstars Facebook page, YouTube, Laurie Davis show host, if you search that, and also the Disability Channel, and of course, archived for your home TV. So we have lots of people to be grateful for, and I'm so blessed to be here and just be able to share what I've come to know, and hopefully give you some shortcuts and save you some time, some energy, some money, whatever. I've always tell my clients, I've done a lot of things wrong, but I've also done a lot of things right. And so that's how we become wise. If you don't ever make a mistake, you don't really ever learn much. So I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. So I think now it's paying off because now I'm smarter and I'm wiser and I know more. So, anyway, so today we're going to talk about stress because I don't know about you, but you can feel it in the air. You can feel it when you walk into a room. And of course, COVID didn't do much to help us with that. And so my nose is itchy. Does that mean I'm going to come into some money if your nose is itchy, or your head's itchy, or your palm's itchy? Oh my. But anyway, it's everywhere. And COVID really, I don't know. There are people right now that still haven't come out of their houses after COVID. And my friend Doug Smith told me that we haven't seen the worst of it yet, the mental health issues from COVID. It's kind of like a gradual incline. It's been getting worse, more suicides, more drug abuse, but it's not really going to peak until next winter, February, March 2025. So we haven't seen the worst of it yet, but here we are, our mental health care system not able to handle what's going on right now, even. So, stress is a big part of everybody's life. And what is it exactly? So, we're going to define it today. And good morning, Virginia. And if you want to pop on with me, I can make that happen. We're talking about stress. And so, stress comes with it's in many packages. So let's talk about that first. And Virginia, maybe you could make some comments or contribute that way since you're watching the show live this morning. That'd be great. But I always feel stressed when I'm not lined up or when I'm not in agreement with myself. In other words, let me give you an example. Let's say you have a job and they're asking you to do things that don't line up with your core values. That will cause stress. Or you're in a marriage or a relationship and your partner does not have the same core values as yourself. That'll be stressful. So stress happens when we're out of sync or out of line with who we really are. Certainly, and our good friend Virginia Clark, I know she wouldn't mind me saying this, you know, getting through her chemotherapy and getting through all of that is very stressful. because you're on foreign territory. We don't know certain things. We don't understand the lingo. It's like being in a foreign country. You know, you go to a foreign country and it's very unfamiliar. All these things create stress in the body. And then when we don't take care of the stress, then things happen. We get headaches. We can't sleep. We're not eating properly. All these things contribute to sickness. So many years ago, I discovered something. I call it my invention. And many of you have heard the story before, but I came home from work one day and I said to Ron, my husband, and also at the time was my business partner, he's retired since, but I said to him, you know, I've discovered something about people. And this came after teaching school for 15 years, working in sales and marketing for another 12 years, and in our own business for 5 years. And I said, wow, here's what I've come to know. Most people are walking around feeling like there's something wrong with themselves. I mean, us girls are the worst. You know, our hair's not right. We don't feel beautiful. We don't feel smart enough. Good to hear, Virginia. And we think, you know, we're not happy with our bodies. And oh my gosh, the list just goes on and on. Am I the only one, or have you all been there? Like, we always focus on what's not good or what's not right, or we don't feel good enough for somebody or something. So it's very stressful to always be thinking that there's something wrong with us. And I share this with my clients. I say, well, you know, there's nothing wrong with us. It's just that our situations haven't always been perfect. And that's what creates stress and causes stress, when we get ourselves into situations that are not comfortable. So, for example, I used to say, how did a smart woman like me get into a situation like this? And it was usually with a boyfriend or a man in my life, or a marriage. And I'd go like, or even the wrong job or the wrong career. How did I get myself in this? So when we find ourselves questioning our decisions and not trusting ourselves, that's a surefire recipe for stress, for sure. And then the second thing is we're scared. We live in fear all the time, afraid to try something new, afraid to try a new recipe because we're afraid it won't turn out. Like, it's so bizarre when you think about it. So that's called a lack of confidence. I don't believe in myself. I don't feel that I can do things. I'm a bad mom. I'm always not feeling like I could just take on the world. And then the third thing that creates stress is when we're not able to express ourselves to get the results we want, either personally or in business. We don't know how to communicate, how to be heard, how to get questions answered. So with just those three things alone, the stress is unbelievable. Never feeling good enough, not feeling confident, and not able to communicate. And for many, many people, they've lost their voice. They don't know how to stand up for themselves. And I was one of those people. I used to let people walk all over me and then wish I could have said something if I didn't agree with something. Or, you know, now I express myself, and that doesn't mean people have to agree with me, but I'm going to share what's coming up for me, because that keeps the stress down. Otherwise, we bottle things up and we get all tight, and you get that pain in the back of your neck, and you can't sleep, and you can't eat. Oh my goodness sakes. So we have some people watching today. Hi, Kimberly. I don't know who you are, but welcome. Thank you for being here. And Virginia's here, and I don't know who else is here. I can't see that. If you put a thumbs up or a heart or a little emoji, then I can see your name and see who's here. So feel free to do that, and also feel free to, if you're watching through one of our Facebook pages, you can make comments like Virginia just shared, and then I can put them up. Learning to realign yourself, yes, as you go through your treatments and getting everything in balance again. Because we live in a world that's very go, 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 go. Oh, wow. Jill, you're here too. Welcome to the show, Jill. And your cousin Kim from Melbourne, Australia. Cool. Wow. Yay, all the way around the globe today. Beautiful. Thank you. So, today we're talking about stress and what is it and what's it look like and how do I get there? And then I'm going to share some ways to get out of there because we never talk about something in my organization anyway without providing some safety nets like, okay, this is the situation, but how do I get out of there? Exactly. But it's everywhere. And now I see, because I watch the American news channel, I'll put a plug in for KTLA today. I hear lots of California news, and we have lots of friends and partners in California, so I want to be on board with what's happening there. And they're advertising now, the California Mental Health Association, if that's the proper name. Now they have programs to help de-stress 5-year-olds. What? Can you imagine being so stressed at 5? What are you going to be like when you're 20 or some really bad thing happens? Oh my gosh, I connect to that because I taught kindergarten. So I know what a 5-year-old looks like and what they think and how they act. And wow. Wow. I mean, when you're 5, you shouldn't have a care in the world, right? Mhm. So what is this thing called stress? And it chews us up inside. It causes disease. It's totally responsible for a lot of sickness. I know I had a friend years ago. She was a client many years ago, and she had brought up 4 boys. And she said, I feel so badly. I didn't really bring them up because I spent 3 or 4 days a week in bed with migraine headache. Stress in a very dysfunctional marriage of 25 years and couldn't figure out how to get out. And so stress is something that comes with every setback, every loss, every disappointment. So we need to be conscious of it. I believe a lot of people don't even realize that they're stressed, but I have a saying, wrap tighter than an airport sandwich. Whoa, like no way to move or be flexible or flow. Flow. Welcome, Kathy. Kathy says, and this is true, the teenage years are really stressful. Absolutely. Because this is the time when we really fall into those traps of expectations. So I need to be thin. I need to get a boyfriend. I need to be part of the crowd. It's acceptance becomes very important. And so that's our biggest goal is to be accepted. And then when that doesn't happen, how stressful is that? Maybe I was the only kid in the class that never got invited to the birthday parties or the pool parties, or I didn't make the basketball team, or blah, blah, blah. It's like a setup. And we get really conditioned early in life. But the problem is, nobody really shows us how to take care of it or put ourselves in a position where I don't allow the stress to become my mantra or to take over. And you just have to look at people and talk to people, and you can see it in their eyes and their face. So we need to get really de-stressed, and we need to get really peaceful. And how do we do that? Well, we're going to take a little break. I have a little treat for you today, and we're busy getting our clients on board to do little clips for us. Because when people are in our workshops, one of the big benefits is they learn how to de-stress, or they at least become aware of the fact that they are stressed and maybe they ought to do something about it before they have a stroke or before they have a heart attack. Because stress now, the research, the science says 95% of all disease caused by stress. Whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, well, let's go to this. I know she won't mind. We're going to do quite a few, but here's one of our clients, and she did a little clip for us yesterday. So we're going to take a break and just share that with you.
Hi. Hi, I'm Dr. Kay Sheffield, and I am in Calamasa, California. And I have a question to ask you. If you felt like you lacked confidence and just did not know what was going to be your next path to take, what would you do? I've found that it was really wise for me to follow a path of learning more about myself and how to increase my self-confidence from a friend. A friend recommended this to me. I thought I was doing fine. I'd gone through a divorce and was raising 3 kids from when they were really young, and thought I had all the self-worth that I needed. But obviously I was not, and I was lacking in a lot of things. So I signed up for Laurie Davis's workshops on self-worth. I found that they were most helpful in getting my confidence back, building my self-esteem, and giving me extra help with things that I would want to do as far as the business, as far as doing things and meeting other people in the world, as far as a family member. Big help with all of those areas of my life. Anything social that had to do with meeting with people were just very wise to have these workshops behind me. As I talked to Laurie during these workshops, I found that I was validated for what I was doing, what I was going through, and what I needed to know about myself. That I had humor. I can laugh and I can make fun of myself and enjoy things about myself. But I've also found that I can also help other people, and that's what was really my goal from when I was little, is helping people, being kind of I guess, a mom kind of a figure to people, but also just helping them to find out how could they help themselves. I've taken several workshops from Laurie and found that the ones I've taken have been just out of this world. I've learned so much about myself as well as how to help people do better in what they were doing. So I hope you can consider some of the things that she's offering, and that you can become more confident in yourself, have better self-esteem, be more validated in who you are and what you can do, and know that you can do so much more with the life you've lived. Thank you for listening to me, and please contact Laurie.
Wasn't that beautiful? Our beautiful Dr. K in Calamasa, California. She goes KKK, K Calamasa, California, alliteration. That's it. And she's a speech pathologist by profession, so speech is very important to her. Thank you, Kay. Wow, just listening to that just inspires me. Isn't that inspirational? And that's what we're working on, is creating some packages like that so that you can get to hear from some other people, especially on Mondays, because Monday's show is empowerment, self-care, self-regard. Tuesday is finance. We bring in Dr. Ramin Modiri, finance. Wednesday, wellness. And actually, Kay's going to be with me this week to discuss some things in the area of wellness. That's her area of expertise. And then Thursday, our special communities of veterans, indigenous community, any community, really. And on Friday, it's kind of fun day, and we give that show up to Jay to bring in some very fun people, some musicians, some entertainers, and we can do that too. So let's see. Yes, lovely Kay, wasn't that beautiful? I thought so too. She she did really well there. All right. So we are discussing stress. So it's Monday morning, and I feel I'm looking out my window here, our beautiful park across the street, and I'm thinking this is going to be where I permanently broadcast from because the energy I'm getting from those beautiful trees is they're huge and they're all leafed out now and green because spring is here, summer's here. And so just enjoying that. And is this not the beginning of winter in Australia? I'm thinking they're the opposite of us, aren't they? Yes. Maybe Kim could comment on that for sure. What's the weather like in Australia today? Beautiful. All right. Well, one of the things that we do, and I'm just going to put a plug in for our recovery summit, recovery and performance summit. And part of why I wanted to do this, and we just completed number 3, our next one is September 6th, 7th, and 8th. And you can come in for 3 days, 1 day, one speaker. And we bring in about 18 people that are open and willing to share just one of their many recovery stories. And I wanted to do this to inspire others who are busy recovering from something. We're all busy recovering from something. And that's what creates stress also. So whether it's an injury, a sickness, a broken relationship, maybe we're just busy recovering from our childhood. Most people are walking around recovering from their childhood. Because without that, life can be very stressful if we don't heal ourselves up and recover. So the Recovery Summit is a place where our speakers come in. They spend 15 minutes talking about a situation that they were in. Then they spend 15 minutes talking about what they did to get out of there. I read a book, I went to a workshop, I attended church, whatever it is. And then the last one is, where are they today? Where are they today? Because in the work that we do, self-worth, the missing link, to me, that's the bottom line for everything, but we'll talk about that in a bit. So the summit is a place where people can come to be inspired because our tagline is, we did it, you can do it too. And isn't it interesting that when we're going through things, we feel like we're the only person in the world that ever had to go through this. We feel all alone, which is a total lie. Okay? There's 8.5 billion people on the planet right now, and I can assure you that whatever you have gone through, many others have done it before you. So those are what in our native culture we call it the knowledge keepers, the elders, people who've had a similar experience. So no, we're never ever alone. There are always others who've been there, done that, and could wear the t-shirt. So the Recovery Summit shares that and shows that and inspires others to know that they're not alone and that they can make things happen. So our next one, the 6th, 7th, and 8th of September, and we'll have some beautiful people. What we try to do is keep a base of original speakers or people who've been on before, and then in one half is people who've already been there, and then the other half are new people. So if you have a recovery story that you'd like to share, please contact me because we're always looking for people who want to share their recovery story. Now, let's see. Right now, you're watching the Today Show. And if you wish to be on the show, you have a guest that you'd like to refer to be on the show, just remembering those categories, or you want to know more about us and you want to get in touch with me, here's my email and my phone number. And I'm a hybrid person. What I mean by that is I'm old enough to be old school. I have to have a physical day timer. But I've been working virtually since 2002. So I was a pioneer in all of this technology, but isn't it interesting? I would be the first person to jump on board with that, but I don't like a Google Calendar. It's weird. But I call myself a hybrid. Keeps the stress down. I need to see my appointments on paper in front of me all the time. I'd lose them on the phone or whatever. So now, Kathy says she doesn't have a recovery story. It's more like an endurance story. Well, that's a good one. And Virginia, as a previous speaker, it's an amazing platform for healing. Yes, and the other benefit is it creates a platform if you have any aspiration to broadcast, do a podcast, be a speaker, present yourself. It's a beautiful, safe place to practice. You can practice there. And we don't care if it's not perfect or whatever. It's just we have a formula, and most people do very well, even their first time out. So I'm really proud of all of them. And it's online, of course, so we can reach out to the planet and put people into our recovery summit. Beautiful. All right. Well, today we're talking about stress and how we're going to keep the stress down and how we're going to just. And the first step towards that is breathing. And we're going to talk about that as one of the aspects. We have a beautiful associate. Her name is Sylvia Adler. And Sylvia did a workshop for us, and she taught us how to breathe. Because most people breathe like this, very shallow. So Sylvia taught us how to, breathe in four to the count of four. So here we go. Out. I do that when I'm walking my dog. What that does, several things happen. It increases the flow of oxygen through your bloodstream. It builds stamina. It cleanses. It releases toxins. Do you think that might be a bit helpful when it comes to de-stressing? Just breathing differently? I couldn't believe the difference. When I started practicing Sylvia's techniques, I sleep better. I have more energy. I used to have a power nap every day. I don't even do that anymore. It's amazing. So I'm up at 7. I don't go to bed till 10:30 or 11. So I put in a full day. Like today, I'm online for 6 hours. I have 6 1-hour things to do today online. So I need that to keep my strength up, to keep the stress down. And so I would highly recommend it. There are a few techniques that you can learn, but the most important one is that breathe in for 4 and breathe out for 4, the count of 4. Because when you breathe out, you're getting rid of toxins and you're forcing your diaphragm, you're exercising your diaphragm and your lungs to keep them healthy. Does that sound like a really great way to de-stress? Just try it. Feels good. It feels good. All right. Well, we're getting practiced up for our advertising because we're going to be bringing on some advertisers. And every 15 minutes, the show will take another little break. So I'm going to share another friend of ours with you who also has something to share about the work that we do. And this is Dr. Susie Mearswick from Yucaipa, California. There's a little delay on the front end, which we're going to edit, but in the meantime, enjoy the message.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Susie. I decided to come on this platform and share my story, hoping that it will be encouraging to many of you. I grew up in a toxic home where I couldn't speak out. I didn't have any feelings and I wasn't allowed to voice or express myself. This led to me being engaged in a marriage for 24 years where I felt I didn't have a voice. I felt I just had to accept my lot and make the best of it. I was an unempowered woman. I know many people suffer in this way, and we think that that's all we can do in life. However, after 24 years, we did get divorced, and I was crushed. I didn't know where my life was going at this point. I did start to pick up the pieces and recover, and I did a lot of emotional work. One of the things that I did that was very successful was enrolling in Dr. Laurie Davis's self-empowerment workshops. Self-empowerment is a process where you go through, over a period of weeks, an examination of your feelings, your life, and your experiences to find out who you really are. I became a woman with a strong voice. I became an author, a speaker, and an entrepreneur. I learned that who I was mattered. Since taking Dr. Laurie Davis's class, I've gone on to encourage other people that they too can become the hero or heroine of their own story. No matter what situation you find yourself in, your life is valuable. Your voice counts. So find out more about the self-empowerment workshops because you too can climb out of whatever wreckage you are in and become a glorious person in a new life. Thank you so much.
Wow. I don't want them to be busy promoting me. They're promoting themselves, but I'm okay with that too. Thank you, Susie. So, de stressing. So, here are 10 ways to de stress. 10 ways to de stress. One, breathe. And what does that cost? Nothing. I live in the beautiful Northwest, and we are surrounded by the Rocky Mountains. And the air here, the air quality here is so beautiful that you can just breathe it in and breathe it out, and it's just so healing. So that's number one, breathe. Number two, have some fun. Laughter is the best medicine. And I can't share the story, but the other day we were in our writer's retreat workshop. Virginia was there, and we had one of those deep belly laughs. And I haven't laughed like that in a little while. I tried to a lot. I love humor and I love comedy, but seriously, it was amazing. And so we laughed over something that one of our members said, and that's very healing. We need to laugh more. People are very grumpy these days, and they don't even want to look at you or smile. It doesn't cost anything to give away a smile, and it could change a person's day. A person's day. Yeah, it was amazing, wasn't it, Virginia? And it was because of who said what that made it funnier. So, laughter every chance you get, because what that does, it changes the energy. So if there's humor in everything. I can look back now and laugh about very terrible things that I went through in the past, because that's the sign that you've healed from it. As Kay said, to be able to laugh at yourself, it's so important, and it keeps the stress down. But see, here's what happens. Let's say we make a mistake, we mess up. And then the next step is we beat ourselves up, maybe for an hour, maybe for a day, maybe for a week. Instead of looking at the humor in that, we say things like, well, how could I be so stupid? How could I be so dumb? And that's how we talk to ourselves. And that's extremely unkind, very unkind. So I like to, another thing that I do, which goes along with the laughter, is it's okay to be childlike. It's not okay to be childish. So I find the humor in a lot of things. I can be watching something really serious and find the funny in it. I get that from my dad. He had a wicked sense of humor. It was very dry humor, we call it, but he could see the funny in everything. And sometimes I think back, and I probably used that to deflect things that I needed to address. So sometimes we can use humor not for the right reasons. But now it's about lifting myself up from those dark places or those things that cause me to doubt myself or to be fearful. Fear, it's a terrible thing. I'd like to do a show just on fear. I think I will next Monday. That's a good idea, Laurie. All right. So in the throes of bad news or in the throes of a stressful situation, just turn on a funny movie and shift that energy instantly, because that dark energy can take you places that you don't really need to be going. Why? To be even darker and more sad and more gloomy? Um, I find that a good walk, and you've heard this before, this isn't new, but a nice walk is so medicinal. It's so medicinal. And get out in the fresh air and just breathe in the air. And right now, because it's spring here in Canada, we have all the cherry trees are blossoming, the apple trees are blossoming, the lilacs are coming out, and the air is just this mix of fragrance, and it's just awesome. It doesn't take much to shift that negative energy, but you have to do it. You can't just, oh, I wish I didn't feel this way, or this sucks, or why does this have to happen to me, or, that whole poor little old me scenario. That's stressful. That creates stress. So the goal here is to get the stress out of the way. So how am I going to do that? Well, you have to shift the energy to get the stress moving over there somewhere. I love music. I love all kinds of music. There's always music playing here. And I love the oldies. I love country. I love classical. And one of the things on my bucket list that I haven't done yet is to go to an opera. I only want to go once, but I want to go to an opera. And that's on my bucket list because I love great voices and singing. And we've got a singer amongst us today, Jill Young husband. Wow. Here's a singer. Whew. I listen to her music all day long. See? Music is very important. And dance. They say there's research that shows if we dance, it actually reduces our chances of dementia, especially us seniors, us in those years that I'm in. I know you think I'm 39, but in less than a month, I'll be 75. I can't even imagine where that's gone. And I don't take any medication for anything. And, like, really? Why is that? Because, and trust me, I've not had an easy life for some of the time, but I have been able to keep the stress at bay as much as possible. Oh, Jill, really? You know some folks all right. Maybe you and I could go sometime. I would love that. Yes, because you can be sure my husband's not going to any opera. That is not going to happen. I can tell you that right now. Pets. If you don't want to have a pet and you don't want to be responsible for a pet, borrow one for a day. Borrow a pet for a day. And just let that dog or kitty cat snuggle with you, cuddle with you, and get your mind off yourself. And I have to say, I had not had a dog in 30 years, and we inherited a dog because our friend was passing away with cancer, and he wanted to give that dog away. And he gave it to us. And some of you've met Pride, right? So, having said that, I couldn't believe the and it was during COVID. So, COVID, at home, can't go anywhere. He became our entertainment. But if you don't want a pet, just go to a zoo, go to the zoo and just be around animals and their energy. That is really important. Yes, girl night. Okay. Excellent. Okay. Animals. I don't know how many animals Virginia has, but I know they're there. Borrow a pet. Let's see. Oh, I love this one. Have a do nothing day. Do nothing. You don't even have to get up if you don't want to. Or if you do get up, leave your jammies on. Don't make the bed. Don't do the dishes. They'll all be there when you get back. A do nothing day. Now, years ago, we had this little cabin in Nova Scotia, and it wasn't ours. It belonged to friends of ours who were working away. But we took care of it for them, and in exchange, we could use it. So if things got really rough, we would go to the cabin. And I wouldn't get dressed for the whole weekend. And I'd rent 10 movies. At the time, you rented movies because we had no streaming or anything. I'd go to the video store and I'd rent 10 films. And we would go to the cabin for 2 days and do nothing. Just sleep and eat and watch movies and chat. It did so much for our relationship. And we were going through a very, very difficult court case at the time. And it was like our escape. It's what got us through the whole thing. It was amazing. Oh, Jill, you had a do nothing day yesterday? Oh, good for you, girl. It was so therapeutic. Sounds perfect. Yes, it is. Get out, you know. And here, Simon, a friend invited you to their cottage. Yeah, no kidding. Get out of Dodge, man. Get out of Dodge. It just takes you somewhere else. And for me, it's like a spiritual place. Do you have the cabin was our spiritual place in Nova Scotia. We also made frequent trips to Mount St. Helens in the United States, the mountain that blew up 1981. And we watched it evolve from the ashes to where it is now. It's just amazing a place. We haven't been there in a while, but that was always a great de-stressor. And now we go to the Rockies because they're in our backyard. And it's like going to the ocean and just watching those waves come in. And I can almost see those mountains like they have a life of their own. And they put everything into perspective. Like, what are you angsting about that's so important? Because the things that we stress about are usually things, A, we cannot control, and B, aren't even going to matter tomorrow. So what are we doing? You see, depression, people say, Laurie, I'm struggling with depression and anxiety. And I'm going, well, depression is another package for anger. When you're depressed, it's because you're angry about things in the past that you have not healed or resolved. That's what creates depression. Whereas anxiety is worrying about the future. What's going to happen? Are we going to get out of here? Like this time last year, we were living in a camper because of an evacuation situation. And people were worrying about, is our house going to burn down? And they'd spent all that time worrying, and none of that happened. See how we get caught up in that? So depression is about the past, anxiety is about the future, and then what's happening to today? We've forgotten all about today, and we're not enjoying today. That's very stressful to live in those two places, depression and anxiety. Cool. All right. Let's see. Oh, yes. No technology. Just for 24 hours, turn everything off. Don't answer your phone. Don't go on your computer. Don't do your social media. Just try it once for 24 hours. You wouldn't believe how much you'll get done in other areas of your life. And I try to do that some of the time. I have not been too successful lately because I'm very busy right now. But I can and I will do it if it gets to be too much. I don't have a problem. The only thing that I would concern myself with is my 91-year-old mom, and she has my landline number. That's why I have a landline. So I don't need to go on my phone to call her or her to call me. See, set things up to de-stress. That should be a goal every day. What am I going to do today to de-stress? Not what am I going to do today that's stressful. That's the program for most people. All right, well, let's go. We have one more clip I'd love to share with you. And these are all going to be edited and fine-tuned. But right now, this is the raw footage that you're getting to see. So I think that's rather fun, don't you think? All right, here we go.
Well, I am an author, illustrator, and photographer, publisher. Recently, I decided to invest in myself and took several of the self-worth workshops. With the workshops, I discovered so many more dimensions to me than I even could imagine. I found out that I found the real me, the powerful me, and I discovered I am much more talented than I could have ever imagined. Thanks to the self-worth courses of self-worth workshops, I was working on my manuscript of my new book, Jigsaw, and lo and behold, it became a bestseller. And I attribute that to everything I learned about me through the self-worth workshops. Thank you. And if you want to find yourself, you want to find your power, your everything, I encourage you to take the self-worth workshops. Thanks.
Yeah, these are raw footage. I love the raw footage. And the girls did great, I thought. And so now we will get those edited and fine-tuned and redone or whatever. But they might be mad at me for showing it, but that's okay. They'll get over it. Because I'm not going to stress about that, right? You see? And I told them they were beautiful and I loved it. Because you see, one of the challenges of being a perfectionist, and that's why I shared with them that the mistakes and whatever, the little hiccups are good, because perfectionism creates a lot of stress, the need to feel perfect. And I struggled with that for many years. That was like a drug. And if you were coming for supper, it would have taken me 3 weeks to get ready for you. And I changed the table covers 3 or 4 times. And did I have the right dishes out? And oh, I'm going to make this. And then I changed the menu. And all the energy I spent trying to be perfect. Yikes. Now I don't care. If you want to come over, maybe we'll have beans and wieners on a china plate, maybe. I still like to set a nice table, but it's for a different reason. The motivation is different. And so perfectionism then leads us to control and wanting to be controlling. And that's very stressful. I was a control freak. I didn't know it at the time. And then what did I decide to do? I became a teacher. Well, you can't get a more controlled environment to work in. And it just suited me great, didn't it? Well, of course, because I was a control freak. So there's another thing. Just cut yourself some slack and know that you're perfect just the way you are. I share with my new clients in particular the concept that, you know how people say, well, I'm only human. I can't be, I'm only human. Well, the thing is, we actually are perfect. And we were born perfectly. We got here. It's just our situations that are not always perfect. It's not about us. It's about our circumstances. And we allow those circumstances to stress us out. And we could be in a circumstance on Monday and we're all stressed out on Monday and we've wasted the whole day. And then on Tuesday, that situation has completely disappeared or gone. Now, was that worth it? No, because you missed Monday. You see? You see? So get off that I like to think of myself as someone who has excellence in my life and I have excellent standards for myself. But if things don't work out perfectly, it's okay. Because my favorite word now is next with a question mark. Next. Who's next? What's next? Can't waste time on things that I have no control over. So we talked about going for a walk, a funny movie. Oh, this is good too. I don't do it as often as before, but I trained myself to take power naps. And a power nap is 20 minutes, a half an hour, not too much longer than that. Now, I sometimes do an hour, but no more than an hour. And a power nap is extremely re-energizing. It's like plugging your phone in. So if you need to plug your body in and your mind, power nap. But I couldn't sleep during the day. I had this programming that I couldn't sleep during the day, which was a complete lie. Isn't that funny, the lies we tell ourselves? Oh my goodness. And so I did train myself to do that, and it was very helpful because I do work evenings some of the time. So that was when I was working, 5 nights a week, 3 hours a night, doing 3 classes back to back. And I needed a power nap for sure. How about a treat? A treat. An ice cream cone. Now that summer's here. One ice cream, we get so regimented on our diet that becomes stressful. I can't do it because I don't like deprivation of anything. But everything in moderation is okay. So an ice cream now and again, a treat. Go to Dairy Queen. I'll put a plug in for Dairy Queen. I love those cones dipped in chocolate. Absolutely no nutritional value whatsoever, but my gosh, they taste good, don't they? A treat. The other day I did something that I haven't done in ages, and I looked up the most decadent chocolate chip cookie recipe I could find. And I made us some chocolate chip cookies. I haven't made chocolate chip cookies in ages because I keep the sweets at bay. But I just thought, I'd like to have a nice cookie and a hot cup of tea, and there's nothing more comforting than that. And just sit down with that hot cup of tea and enjoy that chocolate chip cookie. And it only, a half an hour, just that's it. So we have to allow time in our day, in our schedule, to de-stress. Let's see, I've shared most of the things that I've wanted to talk about. And here's another one. And somebody, I think it was Jay Stoyan, our founder of the Disability Channel, he said every office, every workplace should hire a disabled person and put them on the staff. It absolutely changes the complete dynamics of the rest of the people in the office. Because that person who is working around all their limitations shows us that we can do it too, because we have limitations also, but they're up here. They're up here. If you watched our show last Monday and you saw Sabine Becker on the show, thalidomide baby born in the 60s. You know, you want stress, try living that way. Wow. Wow. Yes. Because then people come into work and you're feeling sorry for yourself and you're whining and you're complaining, and then all of a sudden that beautiful disabled person greets you at the door and says, "Hey, how you doing?" And all of a sudden, whew, that takes it away. Helping other people. Go volunteer somewhere. Food bank, soup kitchen, whatever. Just go help somebody. Help a friend. Listen. Be an ear for somebody else. That's very empowering, and it can bring your stress down. Because now it's not all about you. It's about somebody else. All right. Well, that's our time for today. And I just want to thank all the beautiful women that were here this morning to listen to the show. And Simon, thank you as well for being here live. I also just want to mention that we're streaming live right now on Laurie Davis' Facebook page, Self-Worth the Missing Link Superstars Facebook page, Laurie Davis show host on our YouTube channel, the Disability channel, down the road, Your Home TV, and there are so many places, thank you, so many places and spaces where we are right now. So we're out there like a dirty shirt. I'm Dr. Laurie Davis, and you've been watching The Today Show here on the Disability Channel. Have a great, super rest of the day, and we'll talk to you soon.